Several businesses in KwaZulu-Natal Midlands have suffered losses following the snowstorm this weekend. Roads were inaccessible from Friday afternoon until this morning. Some farmers have lost their crops after they were buried underneath the snow for 2 days. Now, some areas in the uMngeni municipality are still without electricity. For more on this, let's cross now to SABC News reporter Nonhlakanipho Magwaza for us. Nonhlakanipho, a very good afternoon to you. Of course, people are still reeling just from the trauma of being stuck on the roads, particularly on the way to KwaZulu-Natal or making their way back to Gauteng from KZN and also the Free State. But of course, businesses have also been affected. Just speak to us about what you are hearing in as far as the extent of the damage.
Good afternoon, Unathi, and to the viewers at home. Yes, as you've just said, businesses have suffered a lot. You'd remember, Unathi, that 2 or 3 months ago, these farmers also suffered from the fell fires. They're still recovering from those fell fires, and now the snowstorm that hit the province this weekend. They have suffered a lot. Some have lost in estimates of 10 million rand in damages in infrastructure, although they're still calculating their losses. But with me now is the councillor of Ward 5, Mrs. Hazel Lake, who will be telling us more, since we've been with her since the morning, taking us through to all these businesses in the area. And we've seen the devastation that the snowstorm has caused in these areas. Hazel, we've been with you since the morning. You've liaised with the community in your ward. Just take us through how has business suffered, especially here in the Midlands.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to see what's gone on here over this devastating snowstorm. So forestry is one area. Our main industries here are forestry, agriculture and tourism. All three have been hard hit. Forestry, we saw lots of trees broken. That timber will not be able to be used. So forestry companies are currently assessing the value of what's lost. Agriculture, we saw some farming projects. It's heartbreaking because they've been 5 years in the making of building up a kiwi fruit crop, and now all the infrastructure is destroyed. So they're considering whether or not they even continue. If they don't continue, there'll be many job losses. Then in terms of tourism, lots of events and establishments had to cancel bookings, and these people have been through a lot. They've been through COVID, they've been through all sorts of things. So they've lost the opportunity to actually just capitalise on a weekend in the Midlands. The Carcliffe 100-miler race was cancelled. So generally been very tough. The N3 highway was completely gridlocked. So we, as a community, a lot of people came out from the highway community, which we must thank them, to donate food, and we were taking hot meals to the people stuck on the highway. So that was very, very gratefully received, because people had been for 24 hours sitting in their cars, freezing cold. So incredible community as always. But it has been devastating, and some individuals have almost lost their livelihoods over this snowstorm.
Now, Hazel, while driving up these roads, we saw people, they're still cleaning up the debris, the logs, the trees, the stumps on the road. In some areas where we just came from, there is absolutely no network. In terms of electricity, how bad is it?
Well, electricity in the Curries Post area is still off. I believe there's a transformer in the Nottingham Road area that is broken, but above that there's also many lines that have been taken down by trees. So we're expecting a very long outage, and for those that don't have any sort of resilience for their businesses, will have a devastating loss in business. So we really are very concerned about how long that electricity outage will be. We also know that Eskom is doing what they can, but it's a big problem.
We also understand that some farmers are relying more on electricity, especially those who are feeding their livestock because of the boreholes. Obviously, they need electricity in order to pump the water. In those cases, what is going to happen? Is there any help that's going to come through to help them?
At this stage, I do not know. I think they're just really hoping that the Eskom repairs will be quick. I know any business that needs refrigeration will be suffering. The tourism establishments will be suffering because they can't really sell a product if they don't have the electricity. So it's a huge impact on our economy. I don't know what the solutions are. I just think that people have developed some resilience, and that's in the form of generators, but generators cost a lot of money, so they're even suffering to afford to keep their generators running. We just really hope Eskom can do a quick job on repairing.
Now, Hazel, we've seen the snowstorm that happened this weekend. Obviously, this area is prone to snow during the winter season. The one that happened this weekend, is it as severe as in previous years, or what's going on?
So we, in my time that I've been here, which is 15 years, I've seen one other snowstorm, but it wasn't even half as bad. There was no real damage. People that have lived here 40 years say they haven't seen it as bad as this. So there was a foot of snow in the Curry's Post area near Howick, but going out further it got deeper, and it was very heavy, and the weight of that snow is what actually destroyed the infrastructure. So it does seem that it was one of the worst in a long time, and it could be an indication, most likely an indication of climate change. We've had so many different devastations here. The fires were worse than ever, the floods. So there is a climate change issue that is affecting business and business decisions, because people might have done things that actually aren't wise now that climate is changing into these harsh events in the area.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure, thank you.
That was Ward 5 Councillor Hazel Lake telling us about the devastation that was caused by the snowstorm this weekend. Of course, tourism places, tourist places, especially the B&Bs, some were booked for weddings this weekend, and unfortunately people had to cancel because guests were stuck in snow on the freeway, and she is saying that there are some places that are still yet without electricity. Back to you in studio.
Yeah, Nonhlakanipho, there's just so much devastation and, of course, the ripple effects of these weather conditions. I just want to ask you if you've been in contact at all with weather services or even other authorities from disaster management, given the fact that the South African Weather Service is now also warning and expressing concern again about the fact that we might be seeing some flooding in parts of KwaZulu-Natal and other parts of, the province.
Well, Unathi, we've received communication from the Department of COGTA issuing warnings about the after effects of the melting snow in areas, especially those low-lying areas. Those are people who are who build along rivers, saying that though the melting snow could also cause flooding in those areas, and disaster management teams have been deployed in, especially in those areas that experienced heavy snow this weekend.
Absolutely. All right, Nonhlakanipho, let's leave it there for now. Thank you so much for that. Of course, Nonhlakanipho Magwaza there, just looking at the extent of the damage around KZN Midlands, particularly as it affects businesses in those areas.